Hello students, greetings for the day. So let's start our MCB unit number 1. Yes, unit number 1. We are starting from the unit number 1. The name of the unit is When I Was a Child. And in that unit, the first section is Through a Colored Glass. This is a story, this is a biography about whom? Mr. R.K. Lakshman. He is a world famous Indian cartoonist. He is telling in this story about his life, how he became a cartoonist and an illustrator with his brother R.K. Narayan. In our old house in Mysore is a place in Karnataka, in a city in Karnataka, there was a window. It has a glass pane divided into many parts. Pane means the corners of the window. Each part had a different color. One day, the pane broke. Bits of colored glass tinkled down. Tinkle means make the sound and then fell down. I ran to pick up those pieces. I looked at every color after one another. Suddenly, I happened to see through the glass. So, what I was doing? I is here R.K. Lakshman. He picked the broken pieces of colored glass and from every color he looked his surroundings. Suddenly, I happened to see through the glass and I saw a new world. It was strange, weird, frightening. Why it was strange? Let's see. Everybody and everything looked blue. When he picked up blue color, the world became blue. The gardener blue dug the blue earth. Nearby stood a blue cow swishing its blue tail. Swishing means moving quickly through the air in a way that made a soft sound. Why the sun had turned blue in the sky. Everything was spooky and still. So, through the blue colored glass, everything turned into blue. Everything turned into blue, and that was looking very strange, weird, and frightening. I couldn't bear it anymore. Quickly, I raised the green color piece. Thank God, things became cheerful again. Green color is eye-pleasing color. In summers, we love to see green colors after the hot orange sunlight. The same gardener was shoveling away with a bucket by his side. Shoveling, you remember, shovel is an instrument, is a tool. The cow turned friendly. Now, with the blue color, everything is looking friendly. But I had to try out the red piece. Now, the narrator is picking the third color. After blue, green, red is the third color. It struck terror into my heart. The cow was ready to attack me. The dog bared his teeth, and the gardener was digging up a skeleton under the neem tree. Red clouds gathered a bloody sky. Why this red color is not looking good? Because red is the color of blood, and we don't like to see the red blood color. Red is the symbol of danger also. The world was a scene of war. Why war? Because in the war, blood is always there. Blood is here, there, everywhere. Sweating and troubling. I switched back to green. At once things calmed down. It was a cool, pleasant day out in the garden at home where the breeze blew softly. Father and mother were out. I was free to play the whole evening. So nobody was there in the house and narrator was free to enjoy the evening. As I remember it, this was my first communication with my surroundings. I loved looking through the broken glass pieces, feeling different with each other. Perhaps this was an early sign of my interest in visual things, in drawings and painting that were to be my life. Now here the one experience is shared by R.K. Lakshman about the different colors and how he enjoyed his surroundings. When did I start drawing? Lakshman is discussing with us. Maybe at the age of 3. I started on the wall. Of course, like any normal child. Parents were more tolerant in those days. No one stopped my scribbling on the wall. Scribbling means when you write without planning. I drew with bits of burnt wood. Burnt wood is the dark piece of the wood that turns into coal. कोयले में convert हो जाता है. And that I got from the hot water stove in the backyard. What did I draw? Oh, the usual things. Trees, houses, the sun behind the hill. These are the normal things that the children draw whenever they get anything, any piece of color or any piece of chalk. They start drawing trees, houses. Same thing the narrator is also doing. I was not at all a good student in the classroom. In the classroom means in academics, the narrator is not a brilliant child, intelligent child. The one time I got a pat. Pat means the blessings, the good hand on the back from the teacher was for one of my drawings. We were all asked to draw a leaf. Each child scratched his head and wondered what a leaf looked like. One drew a banana leaf which became too big for the slate. Another drew a speck that couldn't be seen. Some just managed blobs. When the teacher came to me, he asked, "Did you draw this by yourself?" I hesitated. I thought Ma'am will not scold me by seeing my drawing. Had I done wrong? I nodded dumbly. Dumbly means very innocently. And do you know, the teacher actually broke into a smile. He said I had done a very good job. He saw great possibilities in that leaf I drew so long ago on a hot afternoon sitting in the dull classroom. Now he is describing the surroundings. That afternoon scene is here and the classroom is very dull. I had seen the leaf on the peepal tree which I passed each day on my way to school. Generally, people take everything for granted. They hardly see anything around them. But I had a keen eye. Keen eye means very, very sharp observing eye. Have you listened this one? Eagle. Eagle has a keen eye. I observed everything and had a gift for recalling details. This is essential for every cartoonist and illustrator. Now, who is illustrator? Who is cartoonist? Cartoonist and illustrators are the people who are making the drawings. Cartoonists make cartoons, make the laughter position of the people, and illustrators are the people who are also making the images, the real images showing so many other things in the mind, in the presence at that time. That all depends on your observation. As far back as I remember, the crow attracted me because it was so alive on the landscape. Now here the narrator is telling that he is impressed by the bird crow because it is available everywhere in every landscape. In our garden it stood out black against the green trees, blue skies, red earth and the yellow walls. Other birds are shy and try to hide themselves, but the crow is very clever. It can look after itself very well. So he is describing the qualities of crow and he is telling how he is different from the other birds. I have never grown out of this childhood fascination for the crow. He is telling that now he is grown up, but from the childhood he loved the bird crow very much. I have painted hundreds of crows singly and in groups. from near and far and in many moods. His favorite part of making the drawing of crow, and he had painted hundreds in different moods. Sometimes I'd put crow into my cartoons. My crow paintings have gone to many countries. One of them hang in faraway Iceland now. So this is showing us, this is telling us that the painter R.K. Lakshman is a world famous cartoonist. I was about 9 or 10 when I decided to be an artist. I would cycle for 10 miles around my home to find interesting landscape to paint. Mysore was a good place for this, full of trees, streams, hills, and old ruins. I also learned a lot by looking at illustrations in foreign magazines. So he loved to read books, and by looking at the different books, the illustrations means the drawing, the images in the foreign magazines, he learned how to make drawings. The cartoons were a special attraction. I began to draw cartoons and found the local newspaper willing to publish them. So this is showing that he is a very good painter. That's why the local newspaper people are interested to publish his cartoon in their newspaper. I began to draw cartoons and found the local papers willing to publish them. I must have done well because was asked to draw posters too for the defense program and for the adult education. I earned my pocket money and never had to trouble my parents for it. So by making the drawings, he started earning pocket money also. When Narayan stories began to get published in the Hindu Madras, he asked me to illustrate them. Hindu is the name of the newspaper. Narayan is his brother who writes stories. Malgudi Days is one of the famous stories written by him. He asked me to illustrate them. Illustrate means to make drawings for his stories, like the comic books you are reading. I knew exactly what he wanted and whom he had in mind for his characters. Didn't we belong to the same place? Hadn't I spent hours in every spot around us, including the busy market square? As I drew hundreds of pictures, I picked up the techniques quite naturally. Trial and error taught me to use brush and paint and ink. So this line is telling us that practice and practice improve your techniques of doing the work. Other besides Narayan began to ask me to illustrate their stories for them. After this, I tried getting a job as a cartoonist in New Delhi, the Hindustan Times. The Hindustan Times is again the name of an English newspaper. Told me that I was too young to be a newspaper cartoonist. I was more successful in Bombay. I got work in the Blitz and the Free Press journals. These are again the name of the newspapers in Mumbai. Now Mumbai, at that time Bombay. Beside cartoons, I did comic strips telling the stories of Tantri the magician and other heroes. Very soon I made a name for myself and joined a big English newspaper, The Times of India. For 47 years, I have been drawing cartoons for its front page. A stamp was bought out to celebrate the 150th year of his newspaper, and the picture on it was one of my cartoons. Yes, here Mr. Lakshman is telling that he is honored by Times of India while celebrating the 150th year by putting his cartoon on the stamp. Yes, I have worked very hard and long, but I have not forgotten that you can see the world through pieces of colored glass. Nor have I lost my love for those noisy blackbirds which are always around us. Managing to survive, I continue to paint crows with as much enjoyment as I did on those days long ago of carefree childhood, when each day was exciting and every hour brought adventure. So the whole life went away, but still the childhood days were amazing. That is told by Mr. Lakshman here. Now this story is told by Gauri Ramnarayana.